An absolute feast of knockout football was on show in matchday 15. Munich took on a metronomic Flamengo and Messi met the mesmeric PSG. Now, gobbling up that footballing feast with me was Julian Laurent, Lias Bouzidi and Niamh Patriziello, who is actually allergic to legumes. Loads more insight exactly like that to come. But first, let's get you caught up with the main headlines. PSG simply too much for Inter as they power through into the quarterfinals after an imperious display in Atlanta. We explain what makes them so ruthless. And Bayern Munich joined PSG in the quarters after a solid win over Flamengo in Miami. Harry Kane with a brace for the Bavarians. 41 goals for the season now for him. OK. Legumes it is. Any other allergies out there knocking about? We've got we've got the guys here and we've got plenty of activity on social media today. Remember, you can get involved too. Let us know your comments using the hashtag #ThePressCWC. Let's have a little look at them right now. We've got some great stuff. Of course, Flamengo playing today. A lot to talk about. Messi, PSG, Harry Kane. We're going to talk about all of those today. But there's some great stuff with Flamengo fans having great times. Lots, there we go. You can see them there, ready to take over. This is like Lias on a night out. You can see they're dancing away, having great times.
Well, you know about my nights out, then.
Lots of chaos there for Flamengo. There was an absolute red wall in the game. They were absolutely superb. Amazing, amazing stuff. Guys, been waiting for that kind of blockbuster day of football, and it came today, didn't it, Jules?
Yeah, and I mean, when my PSG are involved, it's always a bit strange, always a bit tense, but I'm glad that PSG scored early, and then we got to see a really good first half, and then even a bit of Messi magic towards the end.
Yeah, and lots of arguments in the green room as well, which are on the way. Did you enjoy seeing Messi, maybe for the last time against you?
Yeah, of course, man. For me, the greatest player of all time, and I think he still shows us those little moments, but we'll talk about it in a bit.
OK, and Niamh, what was your highlight of the day?
Well, you see, I might be allergic to legumes, but fortunately PSG are not allergic to rotations, which I'm excited to talk about.
Amazing stuff. OK, so the question going into this one was, could Lionel Messi cause problems for his former club, PSG? Or would the European champions be just a little bit too dominant for Inter Miami?
Well, welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, as the European champions, PSG, take on the American side, putting the MLS on the map in Inter Miami. Kvaratskhelia still goes on his own, cuts it back to Barcola, and already Oscar Ustari called into action. Looks like Vitinha to deliver this one for PSG. Vitinha goes in towards the back post! And it's the Parisians that leads in just 5 minutes. And it's the youngster João Neves that's got it. PSG look to overlap here. Fabi Ruiz into João Neves. The Parisians double their lead. Doué whips it across. And it goes from bad to worse for Inter Miami. Here's Barcola. Hakimi off the bar. PSG lead Inter Miami by 4-0 at the break. Oh, what a turn from Bradley Barcola. Deserved the finish. Messi. Still in on Messi now. Can he get a shot away? He can. It's their first on target. There's Jordi Alba. Lofts it back for Messi! A hug between a former manager and player. Messi's Miami are around the FIFA Club World Cup. And for Luis Enrique, his PSG side are steamrolling the competition. They go through to the quarter-final stages here.
Cracking game, lots of people talking. Let's have a look at some of the stories from it. Of course, it's all about Messi, and Messi showing a little bit of magic. Lias is going to go through it for us in finer detail, and if he still got it, Suarez sadly didn't have it in that moment after a lovely pass, and yeah, it was great stuff. And the tweet said, pure genius from the GOAT. That pass wasn't made with feet, it was made with vision. instinct and telepathy. Messi sees angles we don't know even exist. Wow.
You're a poet. Wow.
And poor Lionel Messi, he has a lot of duties post-match. He needs to shake so many hands. But, of course, he had a reunion with Luis Enrique, so that one's fair enough. I can't say the second half of that tweet. It makes me cringe a little bit. Apologies. And then, of course, Dembele meeting up. And here he says, good to see you again, Leo Messi, the greatest of all time. I hope you continue to make history with the Inter Miami CF, like in this World Club Cup. And he had so many shirts that he gave out to a lot of people. So I don't know what's going on there.
Dembele,
Anyway.
he went thrifting, man. He went with Alba, Busquets. Jeez, man.
Suarez.
So PSG proved in this one just how dangerous they can be in all areas of the pitch. But more importantly, they showed all the different ways that they can hurt the opposition. Here's a graphic from the first half, because the bulk of the damage was done in that first half against Inter Miami. And it was pretty incredible stuff. They had 6 big chances in that first half, 73% possession. They had 10 shots to no shots for Inter Miami. They absolutely couldn't get out. 360 passes to 132. And importantly, that last one at the end there, 21 long balls and 26 long balls in that first half, which feels like a lot for a PSG team that pop it about, but 21 of those were successful as well. And that kind of highlights what we want to talk about in terms of hurting them. And we could go to the tactics board now to see exactly what I'm talking about. So we've got the 2 teams here in front of me. And what you will see is that the 4-4-2 that we've seen from Inter Miami in the last couple of games has been there for all to see. And what they wanted to do is, of course, stop PSG, but they really, really struggled. Now, initially, the desire was to have a 4-4-2 mid-block. And that's a great idea, in theory. But the problem you had was this. Messi and Suarez, 2 players, of course, it's very difficult to be, harsh to them. But they weren't staying compact. They don't have the legs to get over it all. And they struggled. They really, really struggled. And it led to a PSG team that, if we, take Inter Miami off for a second, the quality that they have and the way that they were able to use width, depth, rotations as well, so much going on. It was really, really impressive stuff. And we can see some of those clips now. Like, in terms of the movement, Jules, talk through this with me, because it's really, really special stuff in terms of how they were able to switch the ball all the time. You spoke about those long balls, and you saw it here. They were able to move to Kvaratskhelia. It was always pinned up high, isn't it? So he was looking to stretch that mid-block at every opportunity. This is probably my favourite one. This leads to a goal, Jules, doesn't it? And the fact that he's so wide just makes it so hard. We're going to see a different angle here.
Yeah, exactly. You see Barcola at the bottom of your screen. You see Messi and Suarez not defending on the left of your screen, which means that for Jordi Alba, the left back of Inter Miami, he needs to look in front of him, but also he knows that Barcola is somewhere behind. He loses him completely. Then it's an easy cut back from Barcola and a good finish in the end by Hakimi.
Yeah, and here you go. This is the depth side of it. We've shown you the width, stretching those 2 sets of 4. But then what we've got with this PSG side, which I think is why we're all so excited about them, is it's not a team that's standing still and popping the ball about, maybe a bit more like a Flamengo side does. It's a team that has so many runners all the time, from all different angles. And Niamh, another big part of PSG's ability to hurt this Inter Miami team is the fact that they're sort of stretching them 2 different ways, and then they're sort of whisking them in the middle as well. Talk to me about the rotations of PSG.
Oh, well, because of the rotations and because everyone can play anywhere, like Alba there, he doesn't know whether to look over his right shoulder or his left shoulder. I mean, here you've got a rotation between Vitinha. You see Jan Neves there at the bottom makes a run forward. Then Vitinha swaps position with Nuno, who then carries on going forward, and he's in between the centre-back and the full-back as well. And that way, what you've always got is lots of vertical runners in between the defenders. So again, they don't know who am I actually going to track, because they can all do stuff. Here's another situation where Barkley, you're thinking, OK, he's a little bit deep here. Is he going to run forward now? And he kind of thinks, but then he stops. And do you know why that is? Because their right back is about to be on screen very soon. Oh, he's all the way up there.
Yes, Hakimi.
And he's just like, oh, he's just there, because he can play there as well as playing in his right back role. And then here you've got in the defensive situation, João Neves, he can see that Nuno has tracked Messi in the midfield, so he goes and covers for him as well. So they do it offensively, defensively. Fabian Ruiz was playing as a striker on the right, Kvaratskhelia was in the middle. I could just tell you all sorts of positions.
Yeah, I sort of have a phrase, two things can be true. I thought this was an Inter Miami side that was really suffering in terms of maybe legs and quality once they got the ball. You talk about someone like Busquets in the middle of there, getting sort of caught out. And the reason he's getting caught out is because he's always been that same kind of player, but he's had those great players around him to allow him to be press-proof as much as the players around him, because they are as well. To PSG and how good they are right now, and the way that they're sort of filling in for each other at different times, the rotations, the width, the pace, it's so fantastic. Where has this come from?
It's a great question. I mean, I think you need great coaching to start with, to implement that with your players.
But something changed, didn't it? It was sort of halfway through the season, it was OK, and then it just gone up again.
Yeah, I guess the game against Manchester City back in December in the Champions League, when they 2-0 down after 50 minutes and they turn it around, they start. I think it was always going to take a bit of time for Luis Enrique to put all that jigsaw together. He has this big crane at the training ground from where he watches training and the games to put everything at the right time, at the right place with the players. And also, I think they worked on every department of the game, with the ball, without the ball, the build-up phase, the counter-pressing, the pressing. And eventually, everything fell into the right place at the right time in that second half of the season. And since then, they've been really unplayable, as we've been saying.
And Kvaratskhelia felt like a bit of a final piece of the puzzle kind of thing.
But I
as well
think
in January.
the transformation of Dembele into the forefront of it, I know he's been missing throughout this tournament, but I honestly think when it comes to the most important player for this PSG team, he ranks extremely high for me.
Yeah, came in the second half. It's going to be scary to see what he did. Like, they haven't got their main strike. It's crazy. Let's talk about Messi, because obviously he's always a huge talking point. How did you think he got on?
I think in the first half, look, he definitely struggled, as did most of Inter Miami. It didn't look like they could keep the ball for more than 3 seconds. But I think in the second half, of course, PSG dropped off a little bit. They made some substitutions. I think Enrique told them to take the foot off the gas. But I think Messi still showed us some moments of absolute magic that only he is really capable of. And this pass right here, man, I challenge all of you guys to name me a player that can even see this pass, let alone execute it. This is something that only Messi can do, in my opinion. And if this is really the last time that we get to see Messi play against the best in Europe...
Which surely it is on club level, right?
I think it will be. I think it was really nice to see that even against opposition, and I get it, PSG were not trying their hardest in the second half, but he is still capable of coming up with game-changing moments like this.
Well.
Yeah, game-breaking. Why? He almost
adding that to his game.
I thought in the second half, again, it's not vintage PSG, right? But there were moments where Messi's getting on the ball, and you're thinking, if he just has a little bit more quality around him, a bit more legs, he can seriously do some damage in this kind of game. So I thought it was really nice to see him at that kind of level yet again.
I think a fair point as well is how alone he was out there today.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He had so little to help him. I think generally, actually, in MLS, he's getting about 69 touches a game, which is not a lot, really. And for Barcelona, prior to that, he would have been getting loads more than that. And in this game, he was well under those numbers today, even though they had the ball a lot more. There's a big question that I was like, shush, let's talk about it to the people. So this is the question. Let us know using the hashtag, the Club World Cup CWC. Oh, no, sorry, the press CWC. This is the question. Could Messi still do it in Europe? Lies, go.
I think he could do it in Europe. I'm not going to say Messi is going to win the Ballon d'Or in Europe. Absolutely not. But could Messi still contribute for a good team in Europe? I think it's actually disrespectful to say no. Look at the quality of passing that he still has. His ability to kind of weave in tight areas. When it comes to footballing IQ and passing ability, I'm still not sure there's 5 players on his level in that regard. Now, you have to surround him with legs. That he doesn't run anymore. He can't run anymore. But I think every player has their strengths and weaknesses. And when your strengths are as high caliber as Messi's are, I think it's worth taking that risk.
Right, you three are on the shot here, all together. You're all being very polite here. It was about to kick off over dinner. Come on,
show that same energy.
George did have a strong opinion. What was your strong opinion?
I just don't think so.
Don't do it! You have so much anger in your...
No, it's not anger. I think this is a very serious show, you know, at this time of night for adults and people who know the game.
I just did a joke about legumes in the opener.
I didn't know what legumes was, to be fair, because in French it's vegetables.
Fun fact, Messi is also allergic to legumes.
That's not true, is it?
Yeah, no, it's
not. So, I mean,
not a European season over 50. Maybe the odd game, and even here, the first half, he was just nowhere to be seen. And I know if you put him in a better team, maybe, but not over 50 games, not in Europe, not out of possession where he doesn't do anything.
High crunch game. I think him on the pitch, in an individual moment, I still would back him over pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
Across a whole season,
You got to manage his minutes for sure.
Yeah.
But we got the World Cup next year.
Yeah.
He will be expected to carry the Argentina, the previous holders, to the
I don't
Cup.
think
There's
he's
a lot of
but I think
winners in
that's-
that Argentina team, to be fair.
I was going to say, I think that's the beauty of Messi and Argentina now.
Yeah.
They don't ask him to carry because of how good the team is. But I think that's the perfect representation. If you can build a good base around him, like Argentina have, where there's runners around him, guys to do the heavy work, and just ask him to make the final pass or come up clutch in the big moments, I think he has enough quality. I know he has enough quality. It's
I
Messi,
agree.
of course.
If he was still good
It's
enough, he would be in Europe right now.
Oh, he's not in Europe because he wants to enjoy Miami.
Final question I'm going to ask you, because I want people
Definitely
to answer it as well online for us. There's a bit of a trend, isn't there? Name the best player that Lionel Messi is better than.
Yeah.
So the question is, De Bruyne or Messi? You can sign one of them. Which one do you sign?
Messi, every day of the week, Messi.
No, I think De Bruyne.
Yeah, De Bruyne.
Okay. Right.
Leo, I still believe in you, man.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. So, Filipe Luis Flamengo had progressed into the round of 16 as group winners. Meanwhile, Bayern only finished second in their group. Would this be a chance for Filipe Luis to show European football what they're missing?
And welcome back to the Hard Rock Stadium. Flamengo taking on Bayern Munich here in this round of 16 game. As the samba sound of Rio face up against the Upa of Bavaria and Bayern Munich. Ready for more drama in the Miami Heat. Kimmich once again looks to put it on the goalkeeper, and it goes in for an own goal. Disaster in the middle as Bayern Munich take the lead here in Miami. That's a good tackle as Upamecano steps forward. It's Harry Kane on his left foot, and he's found the back of the net via the post. What a hit from Harry Kane. He strikes a chord in the Hard Rock. Wesley misjuices cross but finds a teammate anyway. Dazn across to Luis Araujo. What a save by Manuel Neuer. A brilliant save from the Bayern Munich captain. Luis Araujo in low. Dazn cuts it back, bangs into the net. Gerson is there, and the Flamengo captain drags the Brazilian side straight back into it. Might be open here, and it's 3 from range. Leon Goretzka. Dazn now, did that hit a hand? Yes, it did. It's Jorginho against Manuel Neuer. It's a huge moment in this game. Jorginho sends Neuer the wrong way. Never any doubt in the Italian. That's Kane. That's very good from Harry Kane. And there it is. It's Bayern Munich who progress to the quarterfinals. As it finishes here, Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 4.
OK, Harry Kane is back, apparently. That's what people are saying. We've got some great comments from people. Here we go. Harry Kane is back. The best striker in the world is back. Wow, I am so sorry for doubting you.
All right.
Nice to see an apology on X. We don't see that very often. Kane, I never see strikers like him. He knows the four walls of a post, even without looking. I had no idea.
We got
post
poets
had a
on
wall.
X today. Oh, wow.
And last one. Kane did not look up once. He knew where the goal was. Touch, finish, goal. Thank you, Aaron, for doing our analysis. Hope you're well. We are going to be looking at that Kane goal and the bulk of the goals, actually, because some of our analysis generally led into those. So Flamengo, they impressed us during the group stages with their patient and calm play. But Bayern came up with a game plan that was prepared for this style of play. And it worked for a bit, didn't it, Niamh? It was an aggressive approach from Bayern.
And some players seem to really get it, I'd noticed. Specifically, Lima and Upamecano. I thought when they stepped out of defence and started an aggressive press, they did not allow Flamengo to turn. And I think that was actually the strategy. So you can see Lima there, hunts him down. He doesn't want him to turn. He doesn't want him to look forward. And then actually, that leads to a really good opportunity there straight away. Here's an example of Upamecano. So he's in front of his defenders because he's hunting down the player to suffocate him. Don't let him turn. Don't let him have the opportunity to pass. Wow. And I think that was a huge part of it. I noticed there was a pattern there. Again, Upamecano steps out. He did this pretty much all game. He was super on the front foot. He read when the moment might arrive. You're not turning again. And then actually, he got reward for this one. And it was that Kane delicious goal.
Yeah, lovely moment, isn't it, when you
And here as well, you see Lima, there's a runner there, a forward runner, but he's not thinking of him because he's being aggressive. I'm going to press because we want to win the ball way higher up. So those two were really on it. But I noticed that Upamecano, there was a moment where he looked a little bit frustrated with his midfield in front of him. So my only reservation is everybody pressing as efficiently as those two, or are they just wasting a bit of energy, maybe?
Yeah, because it's something that we've definitely noticed throughout the tournaments, you know, that initial plan to press, but the ability to do it throughout the game is possibly a different thing. And in terms of them coming up against PSG afterwards, we're going to kind of preview a little bit later on, but that is definitely a question mark. How bulletproof is that press? Because Flamengo, who have their own kind of unique style, they started to figure it out a little bit, which is, I guess, you know, compliments to the chef of Filipe Luis, right?
I've been absolutely fascinated by Flamengo. They've been one of my favorite teams to watch. And this right here is really why. They have this brilliant build-up where they really prioritize kind of building up with the short pass, the quickest pass that you can get, and especially those triangles. And Bayern press high in this instance, and I think Flamengo do a really, really good job of breaking it, and all of a sudden it's a 4v3, and they have some luck. And I think from that moment on, Bayern either got a little lazy with their press or maybe a little hesitant. Maybe that moment prior to that kind of made them drop off a little. You can see there, I think they worked it really well to a wide area. And this right here, that pass back to the cross inside, I think they've done that really well this entire tournament. But here, 7 Bayern defenders in and around the box to Flamengo's 4. It's a brilliant finish, but I think Goretzka can kind of push forward closer to him. And I know there's a little bit of luck, but maybe to beat Bayern or to get a goal against them, you need that little bit.
Yeah, it felt like they kind of needed to be perfect, Flamengo, today. And the start wasn't great because they were able to press against them, but then it got a little bit unfortunate with a few of the goals. Yeah. But as I say, stopping that press was one thing. Defensively, they were very, very switched on as well. Yeah. But both there was the good and the bad of it in terms of it stopping Bayern Munich, but also it led to Goretzka's goal.
Yeah, exactly, because on the width, on the side, they could defend well. They double up usually with a left side, left back or right back, and the left side, left winger or right winger. And then one of the midfielders of the double pivot, Eric Pulgar or Jorginho. To be fair, you see it there, the ball goes wide, and they've got that triangle again of the 3 players I mentioned, right back, right side, right winger if you want, and the right side of the double pivot. And then they will do the same on the other side. With Jorginho, with Luis Araujo, and with the left back over there too. The problem is when the ball comes back more centrally. Yeah. That's when they are not as focused maybe and as switched on. You see there, look at how much space there was for Goretzka there, who messed it up because he could have taken a touch. But he was in acres of space in the middle of the pitch, really. And on his goal, it's exactly the same. They defend actually the width quite well. The ball comes back onto him, and look at how much space he has. Nobody's coming out to close him down. Jorginho, the number 8, is jogging, not even sprinting towards Goretzka to try to... And you see it's even more damning on here. First, the clearance is terrible. And then look at that. He's got plenty of time, 2 touches, open his body. And at that level, that kind of mistake, you get punished.
I think that's it, isn't it? You kind of, as good as they were, and actually they had 12 shots to the 8 shots of Bayern Munich, but it's just that quality that maybe then leads to that little bit of luck. And as you say, just sort of working so hard side to side, maybe just not that same amount of energy to get to the ball, and they were hurt by it. The 4th goal, we just want to kind of indulge in a bit of Harry Kane quality here, because this goal is just absolutely lovely in terms of a striker just being brilliant at what he does. Because there's always a point about Harry Kane, but here, look at this touch, this quick touch. I mean, first of all, Lima, as you said, great with the press, but this first little touch and then bang, right under his feet. It's absolutely gorgeous, and this is the perfect angle for it. You can see it right now. Look, one touch.
His head doesn't pick up once. He just knows where the goal is.
Exactly. Exactly where it is, where the keeper is. It's instinctive, and the precision is great.
It's absolutely fantastic, which leads us on to a little debate. So, how many Bayern players would get into this PSG team? Okay, if we have a look at the tactics board, you can see that we've got 2 players in each position. And we were just wondering, with Bayern Munich being as good as they are, and Harry Kane, we're going to get to that talking point in just a second at the top here. But if we work our way through, how are we feeling about this 11? Because I think everyone's purring about PSG. Of course, they're champions of Europe, but they're going to be taking Bayern Munich on next. And this is a Bayern Munich team that is pretty stacked, although we struggled to get too many in there. Let's start with one of the sort of slightly heated debate. Neuer or Donnarumma? Is anyone putting forward Neuer in this one?
A year ago, I actually might have, but I think the last 12 months of Donnarumma, mixed with, Neuer has been a little bit more injury prone, and I think he isn't at the absolute apex he was in 2014, for example. I think Donnarumma's earned that spot, man.
Yeah, I think some of his big game moments in this last 12 months.
OK, so Donnarumma makes it in. We then found it quite easy. Lima, as good as he's been in this competition, is not going to make it in. Hakimi's got to be in there. Tar also. It's bye-bye, I'm afraid. Pacho makes it through. And Mendes against Davies. Any chance for Davies?
No.
No?
Not just now. Mendes is on another level.
Yeah, you both have said he's best left back in the world right now. So this back four is pretty interesting. Now, Marquinhos and Upamecano. What are we saying? Niamh?
I prefer Marquinhos on the ball, but I do like Upamecano.
I disagree. I
prefer Marquinhos. I think Marquinhos, some of his diagonal balls have been brilliant.
I think Upamecano on the ball is a different level. The line-splitting passes. I think
ball
he is so vital, not only to just Bayern's build-up, but also France. I think there's a reason why Deschamps is. I find him so underrated. I think a few high-caliber mistakes have really kind of killed his reputation. But when you watch him consistently, I think he's really, really good.
I'm not sure. I just think sometimes he does get, when he's under pressure. I'm not sure.
Jules,
Marquinhos as well.
You get the deciding vote. Upamecano, wow.
France versus
very own.
PSG.
This is tough. Vitinha against Kimmich. I feel like there's a bit of experiences kind of missing out here on Marquinhos, because the bulk of you guys are saying Vitinha for this one.
I go Vitinha.
I just think, again, he reached a level that... I mean, Kimmich has been really good, and Kimmich can play as right back. He's a different style of midfielders than Vitinha, but Vitinha can...
Kimmich has got a longer, period at the top and being absolutely fantastic for a team. Vitinha, has he hit a higher ceiling? Is that why we're going with Vitinha?
In midfield, I think perhaps. I think obviously at right back, Kimmich has hit crazy levels, but I think in midfield, I think Vitinha this season really hit a level where you're talking about maybe best midfielder in the world. And I think while Kimmich has maybe a wider range of passing, he loves that little clip over the top. I just think Vitinha has been metronomic for PSG.
I've already got rid of him.
Even you are convinced. Even you will convince you.
OK, we're moving to midfield. Again, this kind of feels easy when it comes to PSG. There's one tricky one. Goretzka, sorry, mate, I know you scored, but you're out. Neves makes it in pretty easily there. Now, Ruiz and Musiala. Ruiz has been purring all season long, but is Musiala the second entrant for Bayern Munich here?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? OK, so Ruiz makes his way out. We're getting there, guys. OK, on the left-hand side, Kvaratskhelia. I know you're a fan of his, Niamh. Any chance you can get Koeman snuck in front of him?
No, I'm not the person to ask to try and do that. Kvaratskhelia all day.
It's getting ugly. On the right-hand side, Desiree Doué and Michael Olise. And Michael Olise's had a fantastic season. Desiree Doué, everyone has been so excited about what he can bring to PSG and, displacing Barcola in that team. Can you make a case for Desiree Doué?
Yeah, if you're Didier Deschamps, the French head coach, you can play them both together. In our team, there's only room for one, and that has to be Michael Olise, really. Right now, Desiree hasn't reached that level of consistency purely. Look at this tournament. Desiree has been a bit underwhelming, so we have to go for Olise. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
It's amazing the heights he's hit, Olise. So well done, Olise, you're in. And then here we go. Right, so we've got a graphic for this one, which we can hopefully show you. Kane versus Dembele, because a lot of people kind of want to put forward Dembele. I think there's a lot of recency bias knocking about here. But look at these numbers. Both have played exactly 50 games this season. 33 goals for Dembele, 41 goals for Harry Kane, 13 assists for Dembele, 12 assists for Harry Kane. I'm saying Harry Kane should be in this team, OK? It's all good and well having a bit of pace, but maybe Dembele's got a touch more stuff, about him than that.
Do you know what?
But Harry Kane surely is undeniable. People want to turn on Harry Kane. Look at those numbers.
Yeah. I think you're asking an impossible question, though, here, because you've got two totally different players. I would very much struggle to see them doing what they each do in their respective teams and the way they're relied upon and how they offer their services. So I really do think it's just so difficult.
Has anyone got a strong view on it? Maybe it's because I'm English, but I'm going for Kane.
Pressing, I think Dembele is a pressing machine. That Kane maybe was a few years ago under Pochettino, but not anymore now. And just for that,
but do you think
pressing doesn't pay the bills?
Who paid more bills this year, Dembele or Kane?
My devil's advocate to that is probably do you think then you're more likely to find someone that can do Dembele's pressing than how many people the natural goal scorer in the game?
He does both.
I feel like you could maybe teach someone. Dembele's unbelievable at it, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away. I think you could teach someone to do Dembele. You're more likely to be able to teach him, than you could teach someone to do what Harry Kane's done for years and years and years.
Well, what I'll say about Dembele, I think across the front line, because he drifts throughout that front line into the number 10, into the number 8 positions at times, dictating, I go Dembele.
Yeah, every day.
Dembouz.
Yeah, you know.
I'm the host of the show, so Kane, you go. Come on, Nick, you're with me. You're Kane, weren't you?
The show
Is it 2-2?
She's not sure.
Hang on,
Yeah.
where are you going?
She's not.
I'm just on the fence. This is what I'm all about.
Oh, come on, Neve.
So that's
Give me,
two.
say Kane, so it's 2-2, so I get to win. Please.
No, don't let him.
No, I'm on the fence.
There you go.
sorry.
Bring back Dembele. Come on,
He's in there
come on,
somewhere. He's
come
in
on.
there somewhere.
The French always
So,
win.
cut before then. OK, let's have a look at how the round of 16 matchups look like after today's games. So, PSG, as we said, against Bayern yesterday. It took a while, adverse weather and all sorts, but Palmeiras against Chelsea. Very, very interesting stuff. So, next up, we're chatting to a lovely person, OK, because Inter Milan are back in action tomorrow against Fluminense. So, who better to talk to about all things Italian football than James Horncastle? So, James, following Inter's win over River Plate, can we say that Inter have now gotten over Munich and that defeat against PSG?
No, I don't think so. In the same way, I think it would take them winning the Champions League for them truly to get over that. I mean, Jules has been through all this hurt with PSG. It was only 2 weeks ago that he was able to get over PSG Barcelona. So, look, they're trying to move on. I thought at the end of the season, what would be best for them would be to go away, get away from football. Instead, they've got the Club World Cup. And these games have allowed them to kind of momentarily forget. And there is a bit of freshness about this Inter side with young players and a new coach as well. So in that respect, I think there's quite a lot of positivity that has built up around Inter during their stay in Seattle and Los Angeles.
Horny, is Kivu the right guy for this to move on, really? And have you seen already some differences between Kivu's Inter and Inzaghi's Inter before him?
So he wasn't the first choice. He knows that was Cesc Fabregas. Ultimately Cesc, he's got quite a complex situation with Como. He owns some of Como, so you can't basically just leave and go and coach Inter, who are in the same league as you. That's a conflict of interest. So they had to get Kivu. He signed 2 days before they flew to the US, so he hasn't had a lot of time to work with the team. But he does know a lot of these young players, and I think that's the thing about Inter. So much of the build-up to the Champions League final is that this is such an old team, average age 30, and they've recruited some young players. Luis Enrique, who's been starting for them from Marseille, who's 23, plays a right wing back. Peter Sucic, 21, midfielder from Dinamo Zagreb. And Inter are finally using their academy, which they've always just sold off really talented young players in order to buy win-now players. And instead, what's been great to see is already in this tournament, young players making a difference. The Esposito brothers, Valentino Carboni, and Christian Kivu, he coached some of these guys. He's only got 3 months top-flight experience, rescuing Parma from relegation. But before that, he was at Inter for 13 years in the academy. He coached Pio Esposito when Pio Esposito was 14 years old. So in some respects, he is the right man for the kind of project that Inter's owners want to put through. But can he kind of sustain the level of performance that we saw Simone Inzaghi give over the last 4 or 5 years? I don't know. I hope Al Hilal knock out Man City and Inter go through against Fluminense, so we get Inter against Simone Inzaghi in the quarterfinals. That's what we need.
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? And I guess it's one of those ones where, getting a few of those late wins is obviously going to help just kind of calm it all down and give him that chance. Let's move over to Juventus, because obviously they had that heavy defeat to Manchester City. What's the fallout been from that?
It's not been too big, James. I mean, Igor Tudor, I was there for this game, and he said, hang on, guys, Man City have been the best team in Europe for the last 10 years with Real Madrid, so let's not get carried away. This can happen. I do think it put a pin in the balloon of Juventus over the last few weeks, because those wins against Vidal and Al Ain had kind of, again, brought some positivity to Juventus. It felt that Igor Tudor, who's only been in the job for 3 months, it felt like he was figuring the team out. It felt like a lot of the signings that they made last summer who didn't initially make an impact, they were finally beginning to settle. So a bit of a reality check for Juventus. I wouldn't blame Igor Tudor. I wouldn't blame the players. I blame the actual structure of the club. You know, they brought in a sporting director last year. He brought in Thiago Motta. They sacked Thiago Motta. They sacked the sporting director. They sold Dean Huijsen to Bournemouth. Where's Dean Huijsen now? He's playing for Real Madrid. There are bigger problems at Juventus than Igor Tudor and the players who lost against Man City.
James, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with you. There's a few books behind you. I reckon there's one you could probably read. You can't have read all them. No chance. Sorry, James.
Written them all.
And also, can you give us a heads up when you're going to call someone horny? Is that all right?
That's how...
Me and me were in bits there. James, thank you so much.
Like that. Worldwide.
Unbelievable stuff. Well, what a night it's been. The word horny on television. Fantastic stuff. Let's have a look at the socials one last time before we go. You guys haven't seen this, so, you know, we try and do tactical analysis and all sorts. Anyone got an idea what this is sort of providing Borussia Dortmund's squad before the next big game that they've got to play?
Teamwork?
I'm not sure. There's no pressing structure there for me. Courtelou's, maybe. Maybe it's a little dummy. We've been talking about that on the show recently. But, yeah, I'm confused, and I don't know what I'd call it, if I'm honest. Strange stuff, guys. Right, let's have a look at the amount of great action that's on its way on Dazn, shall we? So, Saturday, 5th of July, you've got Jack Catterall and his return to the ring in Manchester, aiming to bounce back with a statement win against the unbeaten Harlem Eubank in a thrilling all-British welterweight clash live on the Dazn app. Make sure you got it downloaded. Saturday, 12th of July, WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson defends his crown against undefeated Mexican star Wilmer Zepeda in a stacked fight night from New York City on the Dazn app. And Saturday, July 19th, Alexander Usyk takes on Daniel Dubois, and they're going to run it back in London for the undisputed heavyweight title of the world in one of the summer's biggest rematches. And then Saturday, 16th of August, rising heavyweight star Moses Ituamu headlines his first pay-per-view event against the legendary Dylan White in Riyadh. It's youth versus experience in a high-stakes British showdown. Make sure you check them all out. Let's get to the football. So, we've got some great games later today at 8 p.m. Inter versus Fluminense. We just spoke to Horny there on that one. Manchester City versus Al Hilal. Can't get it out of my mind. 2 a.m. tomorrow. Real Madrid against Juventus. 8 p.m. tomorrow. Borussia Dortmund versus Monterrey at 2 a.m. And, of course, the press at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. There we are. Bye-bye, Lionel. Sorry, we'll have to get a new graphic for that one. It's on his way. Huge thank you to all three of you. Great fun, as always, on the press. And that is all we've got from today for the press. We'll see you again tomorrow here on the Dazn app.